I've got the passage that a lot of people hide behind. Micah 6:8. By hide behind, I know the way I blurted that out, it sounds negative. I don't mean it to be negative. I don't want it to sound negative. Micah 6:8 is one that some religious groups hide behind and use as their banner. Let me read it, Micah 6:8, then discuss it, and then underscore it. I think on my Facebook version of this, I already listed these 3 points out. I'll try to do this when I post my YouTube idea as well, what I believe these 3 issues are. And they cause a lot of misunderstanding. And I want to clear that up, because I would really like for us to live according to Micah 6:8. He has shown you, O mankind, what is good, and what does God require of you. What does God require? 3 things listed. Act justly, to love mercy, and number 3, and to walk humbly with your God. So we underscore that and then interpret that. Act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. Now, I want to give my own translation / interpretation of this. It's a little different, I think, than what's practiced today, because a lot of times people hide behind Micah 6:8 as kind of a pacifism. And there's nothing passive about this concept. This concept that Micah the prophet brings. I believe it is just as important today. But let's look at these concepts the way they break down. Number 1. Now this is the idea of what does God require? What does he require of us to apply and live our lives by and through, so that we feel that openness toward him to us? What does God require for him to be accessible to our lives all the time? The first idea, this concept of to act justly. Now, that's none other than the great golden rule. Jesus summed it up in Matthew 7. He said, you can sum up all the law and the prophets, the entire Bible, this way. Do unto others the way that you'd have them do unto you. That one concept sums up the entire Bible. Act justly. Now, a lot of people translate this a lot of different ways, but what I'm telling you is that concept of mazpa, execute what is right, act or attend and accomplish that which is right. The only way to accomplish that which is just, that which is right, is treat other people the way that you want to be treated yourself. Now, is there variation in that? Oh, you bet. But I think it all comes back to a certain code. If we're going to live according to the way that each of us interprets, then the best, highest ground to take, the higher spiritual plane, the higher road to travel, is always to do unto other people the way that you want them done unto you. We could not underscore this enough. Speak the way behind other people's backs, the way you want them to speak about you. Think about other people the way that you want them to think about you. Believe about other people the thing and the way you want them to believe about you. Treat people older than you the way that you'd want people to treat your parents, and treat people younger than you the way that you'd want them to treat your children. Do unto others the way that you'd have them do unto you. That's Micah 6:8. That's that first concept of act justly. Number 2, love mercy. Love mercy is just simply summed up. Hased, the Hebrew concept, hased, means to be kind. And that love, the way it's translated in the original text, is to love kindness. Love being kind. Or make kindness a lifestyle, the way you live. Always be kind. Now, there's a big difference between being kind and trying to be nice. Nice and kind are two different things. And I know we have a great addiction to niceties. And we love nice people, especially in organized religion. We'd rather have somebody be nice than tell the truth. I'm just speaking it out here. I'm just calling it out. We'd rather have people speak nice than to tell us the truth. And being nice is not always the kindest thing. Being honest is always the kindest thing. Huge difference. And this concept that the prophet Micah speaks and speaks into our lives is the idea of loving kindness, not loving niceness. Nice and kind, two different things. Kindness is never, ever manipulative. Niceness is manipulative. Can they be the same thing? Yes, sometimes, but it's based upon how true it is to a person. Because that's what we come down to this last idea, to walk humbly with your God. Quick review. Do unto others the way you'd have them do unto you. That's the idea of walk or to act justly. Number 2, that idea to love mercy is to always be kind. Number 3, to walk humbly before your God. Now, do we ever judge each other when it comes to humility or what? See, there's 2 distinct forms of humility. That which is really humble, which I'm going to talk about in a second. Or number 2, trying to be humble. Huge difference. The difference, because trying to be humble is just hypocrisy. Actually being humble. How do we get to the bottom of true humility? It's simply the idea of being real. And being real and balanced at the same time. Because our personalities are so different. The truth is, we don't have to prove anything to anyone. When you have to prove something to someone or think you have to please them, that's not humility. To project humility is not humility. True humility is being true to yourself, who you really are. True humility means that my goal is to please God, not man. We walk humbly with God. It doesn't say we walk humbly with mankind. And boy, do people ever judge that concept of what humble is or humble isn't. The truth about it is, if you ever wonder about humility, the question we ask ourselves and need to ask ourselves is, am I being balanced in my life? How balanced am I in my life? Because it's not a concept of being what somebody else wants you to be or applying the standards of what other people think humility is. The only standard we need to worry about is what does God think? And what God wants you to be is real and true to who you are. And then balance it. Live modestly. What does modestly mean? Modestly, the concept of modestly means moderately. Moderately means balanced. That's the whole concept in the original text there of the Hebrew of what to walk humbly means. Three things. Again, Micah 6:8, keeping it short today. But it's something we need to apply deep into our own lives so that it comes into our culture. That we do unto others the way we would have them do unto us. Number two, that we're always kind. And number three, we're true to ourselves. We're real. And yet balanced in everything that we do. God bless.